Hello, movie patient, and welcome to Film Therapy. I'm Brienne, also known as Miss Movies, also known as your film therapist. I'm not a real therapist, but I play one on the internet just for the show. And today, as with every film therapy session, I have a guest patient, and that guest patient is Sam Bashor. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Mm-hmm.
Is your microphone on?
It's yes, it
Okay,
is.
fantastic. I always like to ask
Mm-hmm.
just because sometimes Ben will wait for a while until he lets someone know that it's not Han.
It's like a surprise.
It is a surprise. Um, so Sam,
Mhm.
how's it going?
Oh, pretty good. How you doing?
I'm good.
Thanks for having me. I'm really
Yeah.
excited. I like talking about movies.
I like talking about movies too, and that's what we do on the show. We talk about. It's always the same. I ask the guests the same three questions, which is, what is a film that inspires you? What is a film or a scene from a film that triggers a memory for you? Perhaps it's painful, maybe it's happy, and what is a film that helps you through difficult times? And I started the show because I suffer from depression, and I find that films are a way to escape that depression, and they help me cope in some ways. And yeah, that's kind of why I did this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're suffering right now and if you're having an emergency, I want to make sure that you call 911, call someone that you trust, get the help that you need it right now,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't want you to do something that you shouldn't be doing.
Exactly. No, I've been in a very similar situation. So yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. If you need help, get help. There's nothing wrong with that. But movies have always helped me as well, like through difficult
Mhm.
times. Like, um, wait, the first one we started off with is.
Well, I'm going to ask you in a
Okay.
second,
Mm-hmm.
but I do want, because people may not have seen the show that we just did, which was 6 Degrees of Feature Film. Sam was also on. And for those people that have not seen that and are just tuning into this, I want them to know a little bit about you before we get started. So why don't you tell everyone
Cool.
who you are, what you're all about, all
Mhm.
that great stuff.
Well, I host stuff online. I sometimes do a little acting, but I'm not going to pretend that I'm an actor. I just mainly host and I talk about movies and TV shows, but mainly comic books. That's my bread and butter. And I do that mostly on a weekly basis on Only Stupid Answers. That's a podcast I have with my friend DJ. You can find that at onlystupidanswers.com. We're on like 90 different platforms except for SoundCloud and YouTube, but everything else you can find it. But everyone's always like, what about those two? It's like, we're meeting you halfway. But you can go
Yeah.
to onlystupidanswers.com. You can find more info there. All of our social media is there as well. And our Patreon, which we just launched. And we've just met our first goal. And we're waiting to get to our second goal so we can start making really cool videos.
Yeah. What kind of perks do you have on that Patreon? Just as a little like preview for us,
Well,
if you know them off the top of your head.
yeah, I had to think about it. But
Okay.
I have for like $1, that just helps us support. We appreciate that.
Mhm.
$5 though actually gets you a bonus episode every single week because
Oh,
we like talking about those delightful CW shows, and
okay.
regardless of their quality and writing
Mhm.
or performances. Don't judge, all right? They're great. But
They are
it's
great.
we sometimes run out of time because we want to talk about movies and like news that's happening, but also like catch up with each other. So we've made a separate show that if you pay
Mhm.
$5, you can actually hear our opinions on all of the superhero shows that are happening, minus
Mhm.
Gotham, because I can't do that. I can't do
Yeah.
that. But then $10, we're doing a monthly movie night, which we'd love to have you because
Oh
we want
yeah.
to do a mix of like really awful movies. Like I want to
Mhm.
start with the 1984 Supergirl movie or like the original
Mm.
Captain America movie because those movies are so bad. But I think we're gonna start with a classic like The Room or like House of the Dead or something like that. We want to bring on guests and we'll do a monthly movie night. And then for $25, that's the highest perk we have right now. We're gonna do a monthly Google Hangout with
Okay.
everyone who signs up for it and just split them up into
Nice.
groups and like do Q&As or play games or something like that.
Cool. I
Mhm.
like those ideas. I might pitch in.
Oh, well, thank
You
you.
know, maybe be a part of that Google Hangout group.
Pretty fun.
Um, Something that you said struck me, and then I got too hung up on the Google Hangout, so then I forgot what I was going to ask you. Oh,
Classic.
you're the Flash, right? That's your
Oh yeah.
like main guy.
Oh, he's my favorite.
Okay.
Also, my my family has convinced my little nephews and niece that I am the Flash. So they're like,
Oh.
why aren't you running around? I'm like, I'm sick. It's like it's not working right now, and like they keep pressuring me, and I'm like, okay, so do I have to be the one that has to question them? Like, why do I have to be the one that's like, oh, sorry, they're not real? I think I have to come up with an excuse that's like, powers disappeared.
Mm,
Yeah, but I do have a
mm.
Flash tattoo, so whenever they see it, they're like, Flash, a million questions. And I'm like, crap, I don't know what to tell them.
Yeah. When is that going to happen? Hmm. All
Soon,
right. All
probably.
right. Very good. All right, let's get into our first question, which is, what is a film that inspires you?
Okay, so this was tough because there's just a long list. Like movies have always been a really important part of like my upbringing.
Hmm.
But I think this movie is recent. It actually got a theatrical release last year, but I saw it back in 2015 at Fantastic Fest, which if you guys don't know, it's
Oh,
an indie film festival
yeah.
in Austin, Texas. That was the first film festival I ever went to, and
Oh
to be
man, you went
honest,
to the
I
best.
didn't want to go because I was just like a film festival. Like I like movies, but I'm like
Hmm.
that doesn't sound like the crowd I want to be around. I was so wrong. They are the best people in the world. You get to see some of the best movies that you guys will never even be able to see,
I
or they'll be
know
released like
that's the
years
thing.
after. And um,
We're just now getting to be able to see. Oh man,
Colossal is one of
no,
them that was there.
that
Which one?
there's that, and there's the Autopsy of Jane Doe,
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm
That
like,
was a
that
big
came out
one.
last year,
Hmm.
and
I
I
wasn't
still
able to
haven't
see
seen it.
it. I wasn't able to see it.
Okay,
We were
well,
only there for a
I want to
week.
see that.
But and I actually like from like I saw like 14 movies last year when I went,
Hmm.
and only like two of them were duds, and like everything
Huh.
else was like. And also when you say duds, it's like no, they're still quality movies, but you're just seeing things that are so they're like A plus plus pluses.
Right.
So it's hard to like everything to raise go to that level. But anyways, 2 years ago I was able to see Green Room. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
Love that movie, and that is my movie that inspires me because there's something just so not magical, but it's so revolutionary with the storytelling and the filmmaking. Because if you don't know, quick synopsis: there's a punk band traveling across the country to on tour, but they have
Hmm.
no money. They have no social media following either. They don't want to. They want to be classic. They just want to do word of mouth or go on the radio or whatever. And it's like that's not how the music industry works anymore. But anyways, they make it all the way to Washington, and they were promised a show. The show gets canceled. They end up like losing a bunch of money, and they just have to turn around and go home and end their tour early. But they just by luck they are able to get a show at a neo-Nazi bar in Oregon, and they go take the show to make some extra cash. And as they're leaving after performing, the main character, who blanking on the character's name, but it was played by Anton Yelchin, rest in peace, great actor.
Hmm.
He witnesses murder, and immediately everything goes like shit hits the fan fast, and
Right.
they basically the whole story takes place within the green room of this bar with the band members, and you get this really cool storytelling like thing where you have the incompetent protagonist, which Jeremy Saulnier, the director, really likes to do. He did it in Blue Ruin, and now he did it in Green Room, which he's doing a color thing, I guess. But they're just seeing how real people would react to just this extraordinary situation. It's just that kind of story was really it really just stuck with me after, and
Hmm.
like I couldn't stop talking about the movie with like I saw it with all my coworkers at the time, and we just kept just like going back to it and like, oh, remember this scene, or like
Hmm.
in the movie the main antagonist is Patrick Stewart, which is
Right.
very intimidating.
So weird.
He's so charming though, like when he'll speak you're like, crap, you're a Nazi, so we're not supposed to like you, but like at the same time
Hmm.
you talk and I'm like, you're like a grandpa, like you're very clearly like a smart businessman, but at the same time you're a Nazi and you're awful and you're a drug dealer and like I don't like you. But and also the use of like violence, how it's like used, it's an extreme, but it
Hmm.
happens as a surprise. Like when it happens, like you're like you kind of like jump back in your seat, but at the same time you're like, wow, that was really it was really well directed and
Yeah.
shot, and the just everything about that movie it's just inspired me that like when I start shooting, like I've been working on videos for my own channel, I can't make anything to that level. And also it would be weird if I made a vlog in the style of editing of like Green
Sure.
Room. But there's just it was they took a lot of risks and
Hmm.
tried new things, and it just since then it's inspired me to want to do those kinds of things in my own videos.
It kind of resembles itself in a way because
Hmm.
like they're the band with no money,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like we're the filmmakers with no money.
Yeah.
Here is this movie that we've
Uh-huh.
come up with, which is kind of fun as well.
Hmm.
Patrick Stewart was surprising as like the bad guy because I only see him in other roles that are not the bad guy,
He's
and
always like the
so
dad or
yeah.
like the mentor, the teacher, and this it's like
Hmm.
he kind of is still, but yeah, he's an awful human being.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And you're like, where did this come from? He dug deep. He
Hmm.
dug deep. I
He dug
like I
deep.
like that he's expanding
Hmm.
his
Yeah.
acting for us, or his
Finally,
roles, I
right?
should say.
Uh-huh.
But Green Room was one that I definitely really liked. A24 just man, they have some really great stuff.
And It Comes by Night, or It Comes at Night. I
Hmm.
don't remember the specific title. It's coming out soon with
Yeah.
Joel
I'm
Edgerton,
yes, I'm
and
so
yeah,
excited
it
for that
looks
one.
really good. And Moonlight obviously was
Yes.
amazing, and The Witch, which a
Hmm.
lot of people were bummed out by.
Yeah,
But when I saw it, I had only seen like the initial teaser
I
that had
liked it.
no horror movie elements in it, just like clips. And when I
Mhm.
saw it, I was just blown away by like the commitment in that movie. But anyways,
And the
A24 is,
dialogue.
yeah, oh, it's so good,
So
so good.
good.
Hmm.
Did they also do Sing Street, or am I thinking of something else?
We'll
Epirna,
get in the
maybe.
no, but I'm not sure. I have not
Okay.
actually seen Sing Street, but I know
Okay.
I've heard it was amazing. So
Yeah,
very underrated.
definitely underrated.
Hmm.
What was your favorite part about Green Room? Like favorite scene, favorite
I
dialogue?
think it's the feeling. It's the like I really like. There's a few movies that come out now. It's kind of hard to do, but a movie that actually Luke Cage. While watching Luke Cage, it kind of did this,
Mhm.
but it feels like a world. It kind of has like a tapestry to it. The movie where it's like it's not just you're watching it. You could actually go up to it and like feel it and like be a part of it. Like
Mhm.
the punk scene, like when they're performing in the Mexican restaurant in the beginning of the movie, and it's just
Mhm.
like this is so weird. Like why are they like why is their volume so high in this restaurant? Why are they ruining these families' nights? Like why would this guy set them up with this show? Everybody's losing here. But there's a feeling to their lifestyle that I remember going to when I was a kid. Like there were those like American Legion halls. Like everyone
Mhm.
has them in their towns, but they would always like kids my age with their bands would have shows
Mhm.
there, and like that like smell and the feel and like kind of fear I had as a kid like going there. I had that same feeling while watching
Fear.
them perform because it was just
Uh-huh.
like especially in like the neo-Nazi bar. It's like I've never been to a neo-Nazi bar, but it's just like the kind of like grime and the grunginess. Like
Mhm.
he captured it really well in it. And I said Luke Cage because the way they depict Harlem in that is very like you can feel like this is a town, like people actually live here. It's not just set. So
Mhm.
that's I really appreciate just like the
You're
feeling of the
in the
movie.
world. And I
Hmm.
also like that this movie is like them people wanting to get in where they are, whereas opposed to like you wanting to get out of
Hmm.
something. And that's kind of it's that reversal that I find pretty interesting.
Hmm.
I don't know, Green Room.
Really good
See
movie.
it. I want to ask you about Fantastic Fest. They have fantastic debates at Fantastic Fest
Hmm.
where people fight each other, like physical fight each other
Hmm.
after they like verbally like take each other down on their points about movies. Did you do that?
I didn't, but my co-host did. So I got to
Whitney
be
did, right?
Whitney did it, and it was Whitney Moore and Bree Essrig. They were against
Oh,
each other. So
nice.
Steve Zaragoza was in Bree's corner, I was in Whitney's corner, and so like I was like
Hmm.
I would like towel her off and give her water and
Yeah,
everything.
you're the cut
I
man.
put her mouth guard in for her. But their debate was are superhero movies ruining Hollywood? So Whitney
Okay.
said no, Bree said yes, but Whitney won because it her point I think was like the big one was you do these movies so that you can have money to go back and make the movies you want. Like
Interesting.
James
I
Gunn can
like
take
that.
his money from like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and go make an indie project, kind of like Belko Experiment. He wrote that, but he
I
didn't
love
direct it. But
Belko.
a lot of people liked it. I didn't have it. Wasn't able to see it. But
Mm.
that there's a benefit to making movies that can make billions because you can go back and make the movies you actually want. Hmm.
That is a great point.
Yeah, it was great, and like a lot of people like got really excited about it. Like Brie also had great points too, where it was just like you're watching the same movie over and over again, but I don't care. These are my characters. I grew up
Hmm.
with them. I'll watch them do the same story over and over again until I die. Hmm. But no, the debates were really good. And the first time I actually got to like host from the side. So,
Uh-huh.
and I wore like a suit, morph suit, like a tuxedo morph suit.
What's a tuxedo morph suit?
Oh, it's just not latex. It's a lycra zip-up suit that's just like forms to your body, and it has a tuxedo printed on it. And yeah,
Oh.
and every year
Huh.
except for last year, usually the guy who runs Fantastic Fest, blanking on his
Mhm.
name, but he's like in his 60s. He actually goes in and does the last fight, and
Oh,
it's like a
nice.
celebrity fight. And when he got punched, he spit out his mouth guard right in front of me, and I ended the segment by like talking to it. It's pretty
It's too bad
gross.
you couldn't like make
Yeah,
it like
pick
talk
it
to
up.
you, but that would be really disgusting. Plus, people usually only have one mouth guard, not two. So that's how that works.
Unless you're prepared.
Let's get into our second question, which is what is a film or a scene from a film that triggers a memory for you? Perhaps it's painful, maybe it's happy.
Mhm. Happy. I have actually have two, if that's
Okay,
okay. But
sure.
I brought this up in when we were doing 6 Degrees. But Die Hard has always been a very positive film for me.
Hmm.
When I was a kid, that was like the first movie I remember watching with my dad. And my dad and I, like my dad and all my siblings, like our connection with him is movies. So we
Okay.
always like so excited to go to movies with them. And he's always like hypercritical. And we always get like in like little spats because like no, Transformers 3 was good, and like no, it's not. But Die Hard, we all agree is just like a good movie, and we
Hmm.
are able to like reminisce about it, and we like even at like normal dinners we'll bring up like lines, and we'll like mimic certain parts, and it just always had like a very positive like feeling towards it. And like even
Mhm.
like when I like started dating people, like I'd show it to them because like it would mean so much to me. um and it's something actually sometimes I can watch to like boost my spirits because it's so much fun. But a movie that like kind of has a painful memory is a newer one, because I got to see it with my dad and my brother. It was Logan, and I'm
Mhm.
not going to get into spoilers, but the movie is about is a generation film where you get to see like a grandfather figure with a father and a father figure with a daughter. And
Mhm.
my grandfather passed away this time last year, and it was my dad's father. And seeing that movie, the way they depicted like their relationship wasn't similar to like their unhealthy nature wasn't like my grandpa to my dad, but he
Mhm.
was kind of starting to lose it. So seeing this movie and seeing the portrayal of it was like a little hard for us. But at the same, like it definitely like made me cry way harder than I think a couple other people, because I was just like, crap, maybe I shouldn't have taken my dad. Like maybe I should
Aw.
have like waited a little bit. But he loved the movie because my dad loves westerns. And
Mm.
James Mangold directed like 310 to Yuma and others movies,
You know.
other westerns. But no, that movie, it's definitely gonna hold a very special place in my heart because it's well made.
Mhm.
It's a very special movie because you've never seen like the retirement of a character like that before in
Right.
other films. And it's just so well acted all the way through, from like the child actor, first movie for her, Patrick
She was
Stewart, who
great.
got to like curse and have fun and like be the crazy old man who just needs help. And Hugh Jackman, he's just given up, and like he's given up in every sense. Like his health is awful. He
Mhm.
doesn't care about other people anymore, like really doesn't, except for Professor X. And just seeing those kinds of relationships on screen was, it's very special. I saw it a second time, and then it hit me even harder. So I'm like, okay, we're taking a quick break, and then we'll come back to it in a few months, and I'll watch it again.
When you saw it the second time, did you see it alone or did you
I
see it with
saw it. I took I took
you're like, I took my
somebody.
mom
Took my
this
mom.
time?
Yeah, so we all cried. I don't know who I took the second time, but I definitely couldn't watch it alone in theaters, because I would like,
Mhm.
I don't know how that I could take like being a person by myself just bawling in the corner of a theater,
Mhm.
or like I like to sit up close, so like you'll just hear like like a man weeping in like the
Yeah.
front row of the theater.
Was it the end of the film that really got you, or was it anything?
It's the scene where and I'll try to stay away from spoilers, but I feel like most people watching have already seen the movie. But it's
Probably.
Professor X. He's laying it's one when they're leaving Vegas, and he's crying and he's saying I'm sorry for what happened, because he wasn't
Mhm.
taking his medication, he wasn't taking care of himself, because he wants control. And like I
Right.
saw that a lot with my grandpa, like just a lot of things. Like when he was younger, he had health problems because of the line of work he was in, and he lived till like he was almost 90. So it's
Mhm. What did he do?
those things. He was in a contractor, so
Okay.
I believe the story is that dynamite blew up really close to him, and so he had to get
Yikes.
basically everything reworked on the inside when he was in his 20s. But so
Whoa.
the technology back then had to keep
Right.
getting updated as like he got older, and just and like him not wanting to like take care of those things because he wanted
Mhm.
control and he wanted to be independent. And seeing that in Charles's character was kind of tough. And his like farewell in the movie was really tough as well. Like it's just him having regrets, but at the same time like it being the best day of his life, like, or like the best
Mhm.
day he could, not the best day in his life, but the last like good day he could remember. And
Right.
that was just like, that was a tough one. That was a tough one for me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's definitely tough.
Hmm. Oh, you're
Um,
welcome, lovely magic Pegacorn. I haven't seen it. Thanks for the spoiler, Sam.
you're
You're very
welcome.
welcome. I try to spoil all the good
Yes.
movies for people, especially on Twitter.
The real question is, why haven't you seen it?
Yeah,
That's what I want to know. It's like, sincerely,
it's
I
coming out
do want to know
again.
why you haven't seen it
Yeah.
yet. Um, I also want to say to the chat, we're going to get into our last question soon. If there are other questions that you would like to ask Sam, you can just throw them in the chat, and Ben will be monitoring and deciding what questions are best. So kiss up to Ben if you want your question
Hey,
asked. Um, let's move on to our final question, which is, what is a film that helps you through difficult times?
I have a real love for animated movies, and I
Mhm.
think my older sister, like she's like basically like another mom because she like helped raise us
Mhm.
too. She took us to see Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and
I love that.
it's a Phil Lord and Chris Miller
Mhm.
movie, and it's so it's it's way too good than it's better than it should be. The
Uh-huh.
movie, if you haven't seen it, which is surprisingly like a lot of people have not seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs,
It
but
was great.
it's an amazing movie. It's an amazing comedy, and also you get a really fun family dynamic in there as well. But when I was a
Mhm.
kid, I was in science fairs. Like
Okay.
I loved like writing inventions in my like notebook. They didn't mean
Mhm.
anything.
Did you do Invent America?
Uh-huh.
Did you ever do
Uh-uh.
that?
What's
Okay,
that?
that's like a national, it used to be a national see, when I was like in 5th grade, this is when this was around, and I'm
Mhm.
much older than you. So, they probably don't have it anymore, but it's called Invent America, and, like, it was a national program. You could submit your, like, invention, and then
Mhm.
there'd be, like, a big science fair for everyone to, like, show off their inventions. Mine was, like, hot chocolate tea bags,
Hell yeah.
because like
How'd it work?
it didn't work very
Oh,
well.
good.
I remember there were two that one that I thought was like genius, which I
Mhm.
still think is genius, and it's called an accordion lunchbox. Not so you can make music, but
Mhm.
once your food is gone, then
Mhm.
your lunchbox like smushes down.
I
And
have
I
a
was
water
like,
bottle that
that
does
is
that.
smart.
Mhm.
And then the other one was like a remote control shower. Like you could program your shower to like turn on at a certain time
Mhm.
and be a certain temperature. So then you can just get up
We
and
have
get
smart
in.
homes that do it with lights. You can do it with a
I'm
shower
sure.
now.
I'm sure. So science fairs, you did
Mhm.
those.
Yeah, so seeing this movie, I was like, yeah, I connect with that kid. I connect with that kid a lot.
Flint
Uh,
Lockwood?
Flint
Yeah, Flint
Lockwood.
Lockwood.
Yeah, great name. That's a really good name. But that was the first time I think I remembered Phil Lord and Chris Miller after watching the movie, and I immediately bought it
Mhm.
when it came out, and I have it on like I have like the Blu-ray and I have it digitally, so I can like watch it on like not all the time on
Mhm.
my phone, but if I want to like go on a flight, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna need that movie. Like I'm gonna need the second one's not very. I don't really like the second one too much, but the first
The
one,
second one had
it's
some
they
problems.
left and they didn't. They were just like,
Oh, Phil
how
Lord.
many? Yeah, they left, and
Chris Miller.
the studio Sony was like, how many like toys do you think we can make with all these like animal hybrids, like these animal food
Mm.
hybrids? So they just kept like naming things, and then they just wanted the toys to sell, and I think they did. I think they made their money. So, but the first one's
Yeah.
amazing.
The first one is amazing. I used to read the book. I used to teach elementary school, 1st grade and then 4th grade. And I used to read the book, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, to my classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, oh, they're making a movie. That's going to be interesting. What are they going to do? And when they go from book to movie, like the Polar Express, for example,
Ooh,
I did not like how they decided to portray the Polar
it's
Express.
also creepy. It's
Yeah, it's
creepy
creepy
animation.
looking. It was
Yeah.
like, what is happening, Robert Zemeckis? So, but then when they did it, this Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, I was really surprised at how much I loved the movie, and I was like, the movie is like just as good as the book, probably even better because you have a character like because the book is just about the town. It's
Mhm.
not like there's no one person that it's following or anything like that, or it doesn't explain how all of this started happening, how food started raining from the sky. But this movie does, and my kids love it. They love one of the songs in the very beginning was like sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows.
Uh-huh.
It's like everyone like driving around and like, yay, food
Mhm.
everywhere.
Bruce Campbell is amazing in the movie. He's the mayor, and I
Yes, the
really
mayor.
and I love the arc they have for Andy Samberg's like baby kid,
Yes,
the kid,
yes.
famous kid, and like
Hmm.
now he's just a washed up like loser in a
Right.
diaper. And there's so much just like awkward humor between like Anna Faris's character and Bill Hader's character.
Hmm.
Like there's a scene where they're in like the Jello house, and she's like, "Can I tell
Yes.
you a secret?" And immediately before she finishes her sentence, he says no. He's like, she's like, "No, but I'll try." And then it's just something so cute about that. And I remember watching the behind the scenes of like the animation house would buy food, and then they'd throw it off the roof of their building, and they just watch how it falls. I'm like, okay, that's how it works. Like they'd throw burgers, and they'd be like, "Oh, burgers fall like that." And I'm like, yeah, like of course, like food falls that
It's a
way.
roof test.
Yeah, and it's like Jello. Yeah, it splatters. Like I guess you're learning a lot.
They're
Like,
trying to go back to their fraternity days
mhm,
because in my experience, there
mhm,
was what's called the roof test at the fraternity house
mhm.
that my husband was a part of, and like they would just
Nice.
take stuff up to the roof, throw it off, see what would still like be workable and usable after they threw it off. That's the
It's
test.
like the science experiment where you try to like build an egg like holder
Oh
and you
yeah,
throw the egg
yeah,
off the thing.
yeah.
Never got it. Never figured it out. Like I try to always make a parachute.
You
It's
gotta
never
have like a
it's never
bubble
enough.
wrap. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's never enough. Oh man,
Mm.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I need to watch that.
A lot of people haven't, and it really bums me out. Like
Hmm.
my nephews just saw it. And I'm like, I got like to my sister because she's the one who took me to go see it when like we were
Hmm.
growing up. I'm like, come on. Come on. Like you had to show you love this movie. You quote this movie. You have to show your kids more often. Like they watch
Mhm.
everything 7 times over in like
Right.
a day.
They do. They
So
definitely do.
add this in there. It's not on Netflix, but like just add it in there. I'll give you the
We have it
Blu-ray.
on DVD, so
Mhm.
I need to put it back in because my kids go through cycles as well. Like my
Mhm.
son is totally on monster trucks right now.
Oh
So
wow.
I need to like move it
Classic.
back to this. I need to get them onto some like Disney stuff as well because I'm like, I need to see. There's some Disney stuff I need to see, so I'm well versed for the Schmodown, which is like Aristocats. I need to rewatch the Robin Hood movie. That's like the animated one,
Yeah, I haven't watched a
and
lot of those in a long
anything
time.
anything that I think that the question writer is going to ask about, I need to like revisit. So I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, it's time.
Aristocats, I think it was one of the last ones that was a little racist.
Could
little
be,
little
could be.
racist, yeah.
All right, let's see if there are any questions. Oh, there's at least one.
Oh,
Yes.
we got one.
Oh.
Quick pitch for Only Stupid Answers for those who haven't seen it. Okay, so somebody asked for a quick pitch for Only Stupid Answers. That's the podcast I have. It's the
Mhm.
best damn podcast you could put your ears in. It's the
Mhm.
best slogan we can come up with. We just talk about we talk about everything nerdy, and you're gonna hear two adult men get very passionate about costumes of superheroes when we could be talking
Ooh.
about politics or something important, but no, we're gonna be talking about the quality of CW's costume craftsmanship, or what's the future of DC movies, or just comic book stuff. I don't know. We just get like really into it,
Yeah.
and sometimes we just get like never fights. It's just always very passionate. We always have to like say our case for all of
Mhm.
these things.
And it's like, what have you read this week in
hmm
comics?
That's always a fun one because we there's no way either of us can keep up with what each other is reading, so we always have
Mhm.
to like give the quick pitch. And I remember DC Rebirth. It was this big event for DC Comics last year that really helped them like restart a lot of their issues, and it gave them a big boost in sales. They launched a Superwoman series with Lois Lane and Lana Lang. Oh, those are hard to say back to back. They both became superwomen, and immediately I said the spoiler for the end of the first issue. Like right off the, I was like, ah, crap. I shouldn't have said that. It's been a year now, but Lois Lane dies at the end of it, and I was just like, it slipped out of my mouth. And I was like, I said I wasn't going to spoil this.
And
So
I
don't worry,
did.
spoilers are. I'm better at it now, so less spoilers, and we'll warn you if they come. But yeah, if you want movie reviews, TV shows reviews, comic reviews,
Mhm. Pop culture
pop
reviews,
culture,
life
hmm
reviews.
that's a
Um,
quick pitch.
that is a quick pitch. I do listen to Only Stupid Answers, not on the regular, but I do listen to it, and I
Hey.
always appreciate the opening.
Oh, thank you. It's quite a mess. Oh yeah, there's a if you like a very gentle, like soothing
ASMR.
ASMR intro, not totally ASMR because it's way messier than that.
Mhm.
And then we slip right into the show.
It's something like this if I can do an impression. Okay, and we're turning it on here, and now we're going to do this.
hmm
And welcome to
And
Only
there you
Stupid
go. Yeah. And
Answers.
we slide in.
And
Yeah.
sometimes when you have a guest, they're like, "What is
What do you Yeah,
happening?"
I'm very bad at like briefing people on like what happens. It's like, yeah, we're gonna talk about what you're into, and then the topic, and then we get into it. I'm like, ah, crap. There's a lot of weird stuff I should probably tell you, but
Mhm. I'm gonna be doing this whispering thing at the very
you
top
want
of
to
the
whisper,
at the very top.
yeah, and slide right into it.
All right. So if there's no other questions, it says, "Is life after SourceFed rough? Do you
hmm
miss it?"
From
Oh,
Clint.
Clint.
You miss it because it was a job. Like
Yeah.
it was an income, which was fun. And we got to talk about like I had a job where I could talk about superheroes and geek out about it and other nerdy news. But at the same time, I'm excited for what the future holds. Like there's a
Hmm.
lot of projects I'm working on right now, which if you check my Twitter out at Sam Bashor, you're gonna be up to date. Like I'm about to launch some shirts, which I'm very excited about.
Oh,
Really
cool.
exciting. It's been taking a long time because the people who've been putting them together for me have been doing it for very cheap. So we're
Yeah.
taking our time, but they're
Hmm.
about to launch, and I'm so excited about that. And a lot of projects for Only Stupid Answers and my personal channel. Like I'm thinking about launching a Kickstarter for something, but I'm not going to say anything else
Ooh,
because I have no idea how much work is going to go into it. So it's in the
that's always hard.
pre production right now.
That's always hard. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to like ask people for money because
Mm-hmm.
like I thought of a new show that I want to do like on this channel. or pitch it somewhere or something. And I'm just like, I just don't know if I have it in me to have the time to make another show and like devote to that and produce. Because I do everything. I do the production. I do every single thing that is behind the scenes for this show and for 6 Degrees of Feature Film. You know, I have some help from Ben with the engineering and Stacy with bringing her own notes for her part. But I do everything else. So it's like,
It's tough.
do I have time?
Mhm.
And like when you have a good idea, you're like, I don't want to like let that candle burn out. But at the same time, like I just don't know if I have it. I
I
don't
get
know
you.
if I have enough to give.
That's why they got to plan every
Mhm.
single detail over months and then launch
Yes.
it and hope that everything doesn't turn out horrible. That's what the business is like,
Right.
guys. Get ready for that because it's super stressful.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It is super stressful. But what's not stressful is this show
No, it was
because I
fun.
love it.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Where can everyone find you? Even though you've kind of said some of your stuff, but let's say it again.
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Sam Bashor, SAMBASHOR. Really easy. But also Only Stupid Answers. That's my podcast. Talk about movies, TV shows, comic books, all the fun stuff. Sometimes ghosts. Sometimes time
That's
travel.
right, ghosts.
At onlystupidanswers.com, you can find all the platforms and all the social
Mhm.
media info and the Patreon. So if you guys want to donate, that'd be really cool.
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still excited about that Google Hangout.
Hey.
So I'm gonna
Mhm.
have to check that out. You can check me out all day, every day at Miss Movies. And this Friday on Geek and Sundries, Gather Your Party. That's on their Twitch
Nice.
channel. So I'll probably be there doing Just Dance with other people, most likely. I'm gonna
Nice.
request that.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we'll be doing that. All right. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you next time. Film therapy tomorrow with Stacy Turris. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.